All right, welcome to your mixing project. This is tracks from the live show we had in March 2023, our first album release show. And we are mixing, this is similar to when you track in a studio, but the difference is this is live tracking. So the mixing is very, very similar techniques, but it's a little bit different, which you'll find out. First thing we need to do, step one, everybody say step one, is we've got to go in and label what everything is. This came straight off the soundboard. So this is exactly what our soundboard people were mixing, 27 tracks of audio. And now we put it directly into Logic from the show, and we need to label everything, figure out what everything is. So we'll do this together. Track one, or audio 2, is kick in. That's what it sounds like. Kick in microphone is in the kick drum. It's a boundary mic and it's put close to the kick drum beater, so we get the attack, the thwap. It's very thwappy, as you can tell. Kick in. Audio 3, or track 2, sounds different. That's kick out. It has a little more body to it, a little more low end. Put them together. You'll get to decide how much you want of each, but not now. That's in a later step. So I'm soloing out audio 4 on track 3. What is it? Snare drum. Audio 5. That's the overhead. I don't know why it's there. It shouldn't be there. Yeah, so that's got to be the overhead mic. It shouldn't be. Something got out of order. Audio 6. Track 5 is, what is it? I'm going to expand it. That's a tom. So you can see the waveforms. The high tom, tom 1. Tom 1. Solo out the next track. There is nothing on this track. Nothing at all. I'm not sure what happened. It must be a dead channel. We didn't use it. So you're going to right click on it, delete that track. And everybody's song. I'm doing the band odds and ends, but for every band it's the same thing. The same audio tracks for every band. Alright, what is this? Tom 2. Lot of bleed into that. We're going to talk about gating. Okay, audio 9. Let's figure out what this is. Tom 3, the low tom. A ton of bleed in this mic. Yeah, all kinds of bleed. It's going to need a lot of gating. Tom 3. Okay. Is that all our drums? Yep, because that's our bass. So we labeled them all. You want to move, grab this overhead. I just click on it, grab it. I can move these tracks around. I am going to shrink that back down in the top right corner. So you should have kick in, kick out, snare, tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, and we only have one overhead mic. We should have done 2 to get a stereo image, but save that for next time. Now, we've got all these tracks, so we labeled it, but we want to color code it too to make life easier for you. So if I right-click on this side right at the 1, if I right-click on it, I want to assign track color. Pick your color. Drums to me are dark, so I'm going purple. And now it shows purple. Right-click on the next number, assign track color, purple. 3, right-click on 3, assign track color, purple, or whatever color you want. All your drums are the same color. So that way it's easier to reference. You can imagine when you get, professional bands that have 80, 90 tracks, just organization helps them keep things organized. Okay, so all my audio tracks have color now, so I know where they are. You can also go in, if you right click on the waveform, audio waveform, you can assign little icons. So that was the kick drum. So I'm going to assign a kick drum. Go to the next waveform, snare drum, percussion, drums, it can be anything. Drums, snare drum, pick my snare drum. So if you want to go in and put images there too, that only helps to make things clearer so you can work quicker and be more organized. Okay, let's continue on. Audio, what is audio 10? Bass. Bass guitar. There's only one bass guitar, so I'm going to go assign its color. Right click on the number. Assign track color. Bass, I'm going to do darker green. Alright. We move on to audio 11. Solo it out, or I'm going to solo it out. There's nothing on 11. So we don't know what 11 is. I'm going to pull up another band because one of the other bands might be using it. Let's check Flight. Flight used a lot of instruments. If you have something in track 11, I don't think it's anything, but check track 11 and listen to what it is. If there's something there, then go ahead and label it, because not all of every song didn't use the same instruments. Let's go to audio 12. So 12 and 13 are guitars. Audio 12 is the electric, and that's the Vox amp. So that was the amp that was at the front of the stage. Rock and roll. Right click on 10. Let's give our electric guitars colors, and let's make them, they're bright, let's make them yellow. Audio 13 is the guitar in the back, guitar amp in the back of the stage. It was Jonathan's guitar amp. So electric 2. That's the guitar amp in the back of the stage. It's electric guitar, so I'm going to keep it yellow because we group instruments by color. Oop, that didn't name. Electric 2. Okay. 14. What is 14? I don't see anything on 14. I think that Might be one of the horns. I'm going to go check flight really quick. 14. Nope. 14 is nothing. Let me check something. I gotta make sure we don't... Okay, 16. Okay. Just hold tight. Hang on, hang tight. Going back to odds and ends. Okay, so 14 is nothing. 15, there's no waveforms, there's nothing. 16, what is 16? Well, that's a little clip. 17, you don't see any waveforms. 18. In your song, do like I'm doing and look to see if there's waveforms and listen through. If there's nothing, then leave it blank. If there's something, go ahead and label it. So in this track, 19, I'm hearing sound, but this is just like one of the mics that was left on. So we're not going to want this in this mix. So just listen to your songs. If there's something in the track, label what you hear. Oh, hey, there's Liz singing away.
I'll throw a brick through your window. I'll throw a brick through your window.
Well, that's not very nice. So that is a vocal mic. So I think you guys get the point. Vox is short for vocal. Label what you hear, give it a track color. Brick thrower. We're going to give her bright green. Or aqua. 21.
I'm not your home, baby.
Wow, it got great. So 21 is a vocal mic. Lead vocal mic. The other one, Sydney was helping her out, yelling in the mic with her. Okay, color code it. So you're listening through all your tracks. If you've... Okay, let's see. Okay, 22. It's 22. This is just another mic on stage. It's nothing. It's not being used. So, in your tracks, if you have something like that, just delete it out. So I'm going to right click and delete that track out because there's nothing on it that I'm using. So delete out the tracks you're not using. "24, 25, 26. There's nothing in these tracks, so I'm just going to delete those out. In yours there might be, but I'm deleting that out because there's nothing in there for this song. It's just going to muddy things up. But 27 is the vitally important microphone. It's the room mic. Live, this is hugely important for live audio tracking. This is going to be our reverb track, basically. So it's called the room mic. Alright, I'm going to give that a color, because we give everything a color. That one's going to be orange, dark orange, brown. Okay, so that concludes step one. Label everything, listen to it, label it, give it colors for organizational purposes. It'll make your life easier in the long run. Okay, so step 2 is you need reference tracks. You need either the original song or songs that the vibe you're going for and the sound you're going for. So I'm working on Liz's band, so Destroy Boys. Honey, I'm Home. It doesn't have to be the original version.
For a limited time, Oregon State Credit Union has certificate.
You want to do like an original. So I might use that as a reference track just to have the sound in my head of kind of what I'm trying to go for. Of course, I'm not going to emulate that perfectly. Maybe we're going for, there's this Joan Jett vibe to this song. Maybe I'm going to go find, no, not that. I Love Rock and Roll, Joan Jett. I don't know. The point is, pick some reference tracks that are kind of the sound you're going for, and the vibe you're going for, the sound. So you have these, you got to have this sound canvas in your head of like, oh, electric guitar, I really like that. Oh, listen to that kick drum. I love that kick drum. How can I try and replicate that? And that snare drum's bright and poppy. All right, so step 2, pick your reference tracks that you can listen to just to keep in your head that kind of professional or the kind of the sounds we like. Three, so I've got my reference tracks picked. I've kind of got some sounds in my head. Let's go in and do some, before we start volume balancing the different tracks, let's go in and kind of do some pre-cleanup work to some tracks. First thing I want to do is put noise gates on some of the things to help start cleaning up the mix on my tracks. So you had to hit this mixer button. It looks like a soundboard mixer right there in the top left. Click that and you have your mixer down here. And I like to pull that up. So here this looks like a soundboard, my soundboard mixer. And we have our tracks. They're all labeled and colored because you color coded them down here. So we're looking for tracks that have, so we have these audio waveforms. So you see these, this is audio waveform. When it's recorded in, that's what it looks like. You have some of these, like the toms, where he's only playing the toms every once in a while. So we hit it there. There's nothing here. But we're getting the rest of the sound from the drum set. Oh, he hit the tom again. Oh, he hit it again. We want to get rid of all this extra noise. It's just going to muddy and clutter up the mix and can cause issues. So what we do is we put a noise gate on to get rid of that sound. So I select tom 1. I'm in tom 1. I'm going to go, this is audio effects. So these are the different things we can do to our tracks. We're going to hit an audio effect in tom 1. This is dealing with dynamics. Dynamics of the track noise gate. There it is. It's our noise gate. Controlling noise. As a beginner, you go to factory defaults and you find something that does what you're trying to do. We have a percussion gate. If I was doing on the vocals, we'll do backing vocals gate. Percussion gate. And this is kind of like a professional wind. This is kind of the idea of where a drum gate should be at. Let's see how it is. Okay, we're going. Nope, we didn't get it. Okay, so we need to adjust this. I'm going to put a loop on this part. I just want to loop this part over and over to get it so we can hear it. So I'm taking my threshold. There we go. So the threshold is like when it's going to grab it. It's not releasing it though. Cool. Now it's quiet. Oh. So in all this quiet space, I want it quiet. So my threshold is set at a level where it's quiet. Okay, here it comes. We got it. Now you can adjust these. If it cuts off too quick, you can hold it longer. It's holding on too long. So you can adjust these however you'd like to let go. Reduction. So if I do the reduction, it doesn't get rid of it all. So you can still hear it in the back. That's how we get rid of that extra noise. All right. So I did that on tom 1. Now let's go to tom 2 and solo it out. Okay, so we have some of it there. So tom 2, I go to my gate. Dynamics. Noise gate, mono. Factory default. They'll give us a percussion gate. Here we go. See if we can get it to, it's quiet. It's way too, cuts it off way too soon. I'm not going to get real technical, but basically you're at the stage of just use your ear. Just get it so it comes on, and then it releases it to a way you like, how it sounds. And then we don't get any noise through here. Comes the next one. Alright, so I'm adjusting the hold and release. I need it to hold a little bit longer to get the full tone of the toms. Okay, so let's find what else has a lot of dead space where they're not playing. This has noise constantly. Oh, tom 3. No, we definitely got to do tom 3. Tom 3 is going to be weird. This mic was weird. Tom 3 definitely playing. So tom 3 is like working like an overhead mic because of the angle. It must have been angled up. So go to tom 3, go to your audio effects, put in another noise gate. This mic is awful. This needs noise gate. That's going to cause phase issues, all kinds of issues. Percussion gate. Definitely the tom. Let's see if it's going to cut out. So we don't want any of this sound. Get that sound out of there. Boy, that's crazy. That's threshold's really high. But we did it. It looks like there's sound going on there, but there isn't. I mean, there's not supposed to. Now it's cool. So I got that set. So now if you solo out Tom 1 and Tom 2 and Tom 3 and watch it, you're going to see the toms will turn on only when it's making noise. Oh, one of their thresholds isn't set good enough. It's got to be this Tom 3. No, it's Tom 2. So it's not cutting out. So that threshold needs to be harder. So go to Tom 2, gate, turn the threshold up to get it, to gate it off. I want to hear more tone longer. Yeah, that's good. Put them all on. Ah, that one's still. But you get the point. What else over here would need a noise gate? These have sound the whole time. Electrics are playing. This Vox. Okay, look. The backup singer. So we have the main singer singing all the time. This backup singer, check this out. So that her microphone's picking up everything on the stage, which just causes all kinds of muddy mess.
I'll throw a brick through.
And then Noel sings.
I'll throw a brick through you.
Throwing bricks again. So we got to noise gate this to get rid of all that sound that's going to muddy everything up. So we go to Vox, audio effect, noise gate, in the dynamics. Noise gate, and for this factory default, let's go to backing vocals gate, and we're just trying to get it. It's all quiet. This is great.
I'll throw a brick through your window. I'll throw a brick through.
And I caught a little scream there. Don't want to hear that. So threshold.
I'll throw a brick through your window. I'll throw it.
And the scream. And then the noise gate captures it, takes it all away. We did good. Pat on the back. All right. Anything else need a noise gate? Vox. She has some dead space, but she's a lead singer. That's fine. Don't do anything to the room mic. We'll deal with that. That doesn't need a noise gate. Okay, so that is our noise gate to help clean up the mix. Okay, next step, I think we're on 4, is let's deal with basic volume balancing. All right? So we're in our mixer, like our soundboard down here. You want to set everything to unity. Unity is the white, just the white line right there. Every slider to that. When you get into mixing, you can start chasing your tail around if you don't set up some basic foundation. So set everything to unity. This gives us a starting point. These are all the sliders of each channel. And then all the way to the right, what's really important to know is this is your stereo out and your master out. Stereo out. Okay, now if you play the song, you see all your little lines, your colors going up there. It's all your energy. Your master fader over here, you've got that, you're checking that. These are your meters, watching your meters. So what you need to do is go to the loudest part of the song, where everybody's playing. Typically your last chorus. Or someplace where everybody's playing and it's the biggest part, the loudest part. We like the throwing the brick through the window section, so somebody's very upset here, as we know. So I'm going to use this section, and I'm going to look at these meters. Actually, I can do it with no sound on. What do you observe with the meters? This one is really hot. We don't want these hitting, we want them just barely touching the yellow, but if you get into red, that means it's clipping and distorting. That's bad, very bad. So we have to kind of set a basic gain staging, we call it. Basic level where all of these green meters are roughly going to about the same area, about in here. Like this is a good example right here. So the question is, what do I do to get these meters all at, let's give it a number, minus 12, or that 12 right there. Or just something so it's not like this one's really low, the Tom 1. So here's what you do. I go to, so the overhead mic is peaking. It's way into the yellow, into the red. I got to turn that gain down. So I click on its channel, overhead. I got to come up here and click on, click on the I. Click on the region. So I click on the I. The I brings up, this is just the individual overhead mic. So it took the overhead mic, it put it over here, and we can see all of its processing. The gain is right here. See that says gain? So we need to get that overhead mic's yellow. I can do this without volume. It does, we don't have to hear it. All we have to do is see that meter. And I need to get that down. So I click on the gain, and see that number? I'm bringing it down. Down, and I just swipe down. Swipe down until I get that under control. Doesn't matter how far you have to swipe it down, number doesn't matter. You want that overhead mic to be around 12. You don't even have to hear it. I'm just looking at these meters. Okay, anything else that's crazy? This one, the snare drum is crazy, so let's hit the snare. So snare, I clicked on it, I have the snare over here. Go to my gain, pull it down. I click on it and swipe down as much as I need to get that snare down to 12 or lower. There we go. Yeah, it can go back up. Gotta pull it down a little more until it's hitting 12. Don't worry about the screams, that's just a random, their screams are super loud. Okay, kick in is a little hot. We don't want it hitting red. It's barely touching yellow, if anything. We want it 12 or below. So let's do kick in. Go to the gain. Pull it down a bit. Okay, Okay, everything else seems to be about in there. Don't worry about the screams. If something like really pops out, we'll automate that out. Okay, so let's say we're good enough now. That's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. So now, how do we mix this? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to start with your vocals. Everything's going to start with the vocals because that's the most important part, the vocalist being heard. So I'm going to mute out everything else. Hit M on everything but the lead vocals. Everything else gets muted. And I turn my volume up.
I'll throw a brick through your window. Not sure how many.
And I'm going to find a section where she's singing more.
Lock this up.
I know that's a screaming part.
I open bars on my window to reveal the morning.
Something that's really important, you guys, is this stereo out. It cannot, we don't want it clipping red, okay? So we're not turning things up from here. We're going to end up turning quite a bit down. So just kind of keep an eye on that. Don't get in the game of turning things up, 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 up. We're turning things down.
Inside, unlock the 7 locks on my front door.
Okay? So then what's the next most important? Well, I look at, it's kind of your choice, but I usually go to kick and snare, kind of set the foundation against that.
Riddles to start my
So I unmute my 2 kick drums, kick in, kick out, and my snare.
days. Hit the bathtub to avoid falling on the floor.
Again, I want to hear that vocal out front, so where am I going to place my kick and snare?
Is there any other way?
You have 2 kick drums. Kick in is going to be thwappier. And this is just get a general idea. We're not detailing it. It's just like, what is my ear like?
Hands over my eyes. I couldn't see.
Okay, I kick and snare. I have an idea. Now I'm going to add in, I like to add in the bass next because it's my foundation instrument, my kick and my bass.
Now if I try, I only know one route and it's straight to your house. Any other way.
You can solo an instrument out to really get it, hear what it sounds like.
Watch me now. I see it on my window to reveal the morning sun. Unlock the 7 locks on my front door.
All right, I got some bass in there, kind of like that. Let's pull in the overhead. Let's see, let's do electric guitar. Solo it out, see what it sounds like. Actually, both guitars. You want to know the tones of all your instruments. So that one's brighter. That one's a little darker. Okay, I'm going to place them in the mix. I'm listening, balancing against the bass and the drums and everything else. Notice I'm pulling them down and I'm not turning other things up.
I open bars on my window to reveal the morning sun. Unlock the 7 locks on my front door. Time for riddles to start my day. Take a bathtub to avoid falling on the floor.
Okay, I'm going to go where there's 2 guitars.
It's my eyes.
Oh wait, there's only 1 guitar in this song.
I could
Sorry, there's 2.
now if I try. I only know one route and it's straight hands over my eyes. I couldn't see now if I try. I only know one route
You know, I can't hear enough snare drum. I'm not going to turn the snare up. I'm going to turn other things down a little bit first.
Your house,
I can't clip. I can't get to the red in my stereo out.
any other way in my
Although I do want a little more snare.
go out. Tell me to walk backwards, say, oh, watch me now. I see I'm on the edge when I turn around.
Okay, I'm going to add the rest of the drum set in. I could have done that at the beginning. The overhead is really important because it picks up the cymbals and kind of gives you an overall drum feel. The main purpose of the overheads is to get the cymbals and kind of the mix of the whole set.
Hands over my eyes. I couldn't see now if I tried.
Cars are a little I like that bass tone. Okay, so there I have a basic mix of, okay, I'm kind of happy with that. That's a cool starting point. Don't worry about the room mic yet. Room mic is basically reverb. Effects are at the end, so don't touch the room mic. All right, I got my basic mix, so I'm kind of good to go. Let's think about the next step.